Welcome to episode 56 of Thrashcast. My name's Billy, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Jim and Ken. How are you guys doing tonight?
All good, sir.
Great.
All right, great. Well, a quick reminder before we get started, where can you find Thrashcast? Well, we're at www.horrormetalsounds.com and on YouTube, Horror Metal Sounds at keng.2864. And as always, we ask that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our weekly podcasts and our shorts content and all that good stuff. It really helps our channel grow. The three of us greatly appreciate it. I just want to spread the word on Thrashcast and making some good progress. So let's keep that going.
Yep.
In terms of agenda today, we're doing something a little bit different. We're always doing classic thrash. So we're doing great thrash, but modern thrash. So we are going to do Warbringer, Wrath and Ruins. So, and this is even more sort of timely, given this thing was what was it, like a couple weeks ago, guys? I think this came out a month ago?
About middle of April.
Yeah. I mean,
Look, they sold 3 copies in Canada.
Yeah.
yeah,
I got mine directly from the band, actually.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, Ken and I already saw the tour come through Toronto.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. And then for our final segment, Warbringer has 7 albums. So that felt about right to do a ranking of the albums. So if you only knew the new stuff, hopefully we can share the best of the old stuff as well. So that should be pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, so before we dive into Warbringer, let's jump into news and what's spinning. Jim, do you want to start the segment?
Yeah, sure. So just a quick news item, because I got a few things I want to talk about that I got in the mail this week. So Death Angel today put on their Facebook and their website a snippet of looks like a new song.
Yeah,
supposed to be coming out in, I think, tomorrow or the next day.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what it is, but it looks kind of cool. And then they announced also that they're doing their usual Christmas show on this year. It'll be December 18th, 2025. At the Fillmore in San Francisco. So they're going to be doing the whole album of Act 3. And so that'll work out. That'll be really, really cool. Act 3, it's the 35th anniversary of that album. So that's going to be something really cool. And I was looking forward to streaming it like I did in 2024, but there is no live stream this year, which kind of sucks.
Really?
They live stream it all the time.
Yeah, no, I know, but no live stream? Like, that's a lot of money lost by the band.
I know. It says right on the flyer, no live stream. So that kind of blows them. Tickets go on sale May 1st for the shows, for the in-person shows. So, and I don't believe there's any openers listed yet. So I don't know if there will be, or if they're going to be doing an extended set with the whole Act 3 album. I'm not sure, because they usually throw in a lot of good nuggets in there, plus some Christmas songs. Last year was so much fun. I got to see live stream with Necrot, so it was really good. So it was awesome.
Like, that would make a great tour, right, guys? Like, they do like all of Act 3, or like, I mean, that would be a very successful tour.
I think totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I don't know. So what did I get? So this week I got finally in the mail, I got my 2 autograph versions. So I got the Tigers of Pantang Bloodlines from 2023, which I already have the album, but I wanted to get it signed because they had the re-release of Animal Instinct.
That's a great album. I love that album.
And this is the re-release that they did. So I obviously ordered this and then got that. And I got hats off to the band. These guys, man, they kept I wanted to get all members signed, and they weren't at the time when they were selling these. They were delayed. So all the band members weren't together until they played live. So, I mean, Craig Ellis there, the member of the band, kept in contact, and, we're going to have him signed and send him out, and kept to his word. So anybody who has a chance to, and really good price, pick stuff up through their website, it was a pleasure to do so.
Nice.
The other thing I got was a cool new release. I got the new and I've been raving about this, the new Jack Starr album,
Yep.
Out of the Darkness Part 2. So for those, this is a wicked album, and Jack Starr, for those who may or may not know, is pretty much a guitar virtuoso. Started in the early 80s, actually with Virgin Steel, did I think the first two albums with them. And then he had in, I believe it was 84, he had Out of the Darkness Part 1, and he's done a lot of different solo projects and that sort of thing. But the neat thing with this is it's a really cool lineup of the band that they've got. They've got, like, some of the songs have keyboardist Jimmy Waldo on there. It's got Zonder on there on drums on some of them. Mark Zonder. It's got, and lead singer Giles Lavery. So, I mean, amazing singer, who's the singer, he's been with Alcatraz, and obviously singing with Warlord, and releasing a ton of stuff lately. He seems to be a really busy singer, but this is really cool stuff. Some great songs on it. Right now, my favorites, Into the Pit, Rise Up. There's some really good stuff. Heavy metal, like really traditional heavy metal, some hard rock stuff in there. And Jack Starr is an amazing guitarist. So for anybody looking for a really traditional, really good heavy metal album, you should definitely check this out. And that's all I got this week, guys.
Cool. Lots of goodies there, Jim.
Oh, yeah.
Ken, what do you got for us?
Just a couple quick news items. I saw today that Bruce Dickinson announced that they demoed 18 new songs for an upcoming album, which is
nice,
interesting. So no time frame or anything on when it's coming out, because they just released their last album, so like not long ago. So we'll see what happens. I still haven't even listened to the other album, the last one. I know you like it, Jim,
I love it.
Yeah, I know you really like it. From what I heard of it, I thought it was okay. It's interesting, but I haven't even sat down to give it a full listen to. But
I was about average with it.
What's that, Billy?
I was about average with it.
You were average with it? Okay.
Yeah.
From what I heard of it, I thought it sounded all right, but I just never sat down to give it my full attention. But I will at some point. The other big announcements I saw was that The Haunted today released a new song for their upcoming Songs of Last Resort album coming out on May 30th with Century Media. So this looks pretty cool. The video is called Fire Reborn, about 3 minutes long. It's sort of like, I guess, a throwback to the more classic sound of the first two albums. I liked it. I'm hoping the whole album sounds like that. The last few have been okay. Marco Ara is not bad as a vocalist. But we'll see. I'm hoping for good stuff. Wait, still like another month away or so, but about a month. May 30th is when it's coming out. So we'll see. And then the last thing I saw, so Billy, I took your advice from last week. So I did go back to White Devil Armory.
Nice.
Overkill. So you're right. It is a really good album. For some reason, I don't know. I just forgot about it, and I started going through it. And I'm like, yeah, these songs are actually damn pretty good. He's right. He's totally right. So
although I thought I was totally wrong, because then Jim said he wasn't a big fan as well. So I figured
it was my
outlier.
I know, but
he shut me down right away. He agreed.
Yeah, I know, but when you mentioned it, I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll give it a go." I mean, he's saying, and I was like, "Yeah, he's right." It's actually, I was listening to it last weekend, and I was like, "Yeah, you're right. It is a really good album." Better, cool. I don't know. For some reason, modern thrash albums they all kind of tend to sort of seek together after a while. You hear so much music. Sometimes hard to kind of like, oh, this is a really good album when you just hear the same thing over and over and over. I don't know. It's just something I find, but you're right. It is a really, really good album. And I actually don't mind the album cover as well. It's pretty decent.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it's a solid album. Definitely a solid album.
Cool.
That's all I have for this week.
Okay.
You know what? Just to let Senjutsu for Iron Maiden came out in 2021. That was my album of the year that year. So I love that album. But yeah. So, but I mean, Bruce Dickinson had an album. They've been so busy touring. I mean, Like, it's
Yeah,
amazing. You
yeah.
think they just had, like, Nico just kind of retired
Yeah.
from touring there just like a few months ago. So, like, this is really cool that they've demoed 18 songs. I hope maybe not as long as some of the
That,
songs on the last album. I know that's a lot of everybody's complaint is some of the songs are pretty long.
That was my thing, but yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it.
But I thought I read I read an article on that too today about the 18 Bruce Dickinson. And
right.
maybe I'm wrong, don't quote me, but the article I read said they were scheduled to record in June 2026.
Oh,
Oh, okay. I
really?
didn't
But
read that.
again,
I just okay.
maybe I'm out to lunch, but I seem to remember reading that with that article.
Well, you probably did. I only skimmed the article. I just
Yeah,
saw
okay.
that they had said
Oh, I
they
hope
had the
not.
18 songs
Which is still
demoed.
quite a ways away. But aren't
Yeah,
they,
it's a
isn't
year.
Bruce running off on that big next leg of Maiden touring?
Yes, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
think that'll probably run in through 26.
I think that's going to end at 2026. So you're probably right
Uh,
when you say that, Billy. So it's going to be a while for the album.
Oh, I can't wait.
well, we'll see. You might get surprised, Jim.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
you never
pre-order
know.
it today. It's not even named or
Yeah, no, yeah.
here, Iron Maiden, take my $20.
There you go. Take my money.
It's Iron Maiden. It'll be $30.
Yeah, but it'll be 5 CDs.
Yeah.
And it'll be like six over like almost an hour and a half of music, 2 hours,
Yeah,
At least half the songs will be 12 minutes.
just like Metallica. God.
So yeah, I don't have any spinning items. I didn't pull anything, but a couple of news items. So just saw today that the British all-female band Crypta it announced a U.S. and Canada tour. So they'll be here in September, and for those of us in Canada, they had like 4 dates.
Halifax.
Yeah, sorry, Jim. They got Ottawa, Toronto, Quebec, and Montreal, I think. So I keep looking for you, Jim. I'll be the first.
I know.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. I'll go see them. They put on a pretty good show.
You know
One
who we're
cool-
getting?
What?
We're getting Papa Roach.
Papa Roach.
Papa Roach.
Papa Roach is coming again. Like,
Why?
man, I can't crypt. Like. Anyways, I'm not going to go off on a tangent here. But
Well, Papa Roach was a headliner at Wacken last year.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they were. That's right.
And this year, I think they got Limp Bizkit there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I guess for any of our listeners in Europe, this is a crazy tour lineup. It's something I've never seen before, but I love it. Like Obituary,
Yes.
Testament, and Destruction. Right.
Oh,
So you
yeah.
got the classic, like, American thrash, the classic German thrash, and Obituary, like death
And
metal.
there's a fourth band there too, isn't there? There's
Who?
4 bands.
Is
isn't
there? I only saw those 3. That'd be cool. Who is
I
it?
think there's 4 altogether.
Oh, do you know who the 4th?
No, I don't remember, but I remember seeing 4 bands.
Okay, probably smaller, I guess. Smaller.
I would assume. Yeah.
Okay. What else do I got here? Just a quick thing. I thought this was pretty cool. I was reading this. I went to the Metallica double show here last week, but I thought it was pretty cool. Metallica met with 2 food banks here in Toronto, and before they left on the weekend, they gave them each a check for $40,000.
Nice.
So that's really cool. Like, and they may very well do that in every city, I'm sure. But I think that's not bad, right? 80,000. I know
good, yeah.
they're gazillionaires, but it's still a nice touch to do for.
Yeah.
They're good gents. They're actually good people.
That's great.
So yeah,
You can't knock Metallica. They're good
Nope.
people.
yeah, no, exactly. I was impressed. I didn't know they did that, so when I read it, kind of made my heart glow.
And then James was at the Leaf game last week, and
Yeah. So
Cool.
yeah,
Gotor.
huh?
Gotor is the other. This is the 4th.
Oh, okay.
So it's Testament, Obituary, Destruction, and Gotor, who is one of my favorite bands.
yeah, Gohor is okay.
Yeah, I love them.
I'm not an
Ex-Acid
expert. I
Bath.
don't know them that well, so
Yeah, they're all right. I have a couple of their albums. It's all right.
okay.
Cool.
And then last piece of news item. I actually, the more I read about this, I think it's kind of cool, but unfortunately, it's only going to South America. But we know all the dynamics with Zetro leaving
Oh,
Exodus, but
yeah.
he's actually announced a tour. And I don't know if that's the official label, but all the pop-ups said Zetro Dust. So it's like the Exodus, but it's got the Z, like the Zetro
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
in front. So I don't know. That's kind of, it's a cool play on words, I
I
guess.
think it's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
He's doing September, but he hasn't named the dates. And so he's actually doing a tribute to the anniversary of Tempo of the Dam with Exodus.
Hmm.
So I
Which is
missed that
great.
on the first round. That's cool. I love that album.
Yeah.
Then he's doing Testament songs, Hatred, and songs from his Bon Scott AC/DC tribute band. So that sounds really awesome, right? So
Yeah.
I wish it was coming to North America in
Yeah, but
some
I'm pissed.
Why?
Well, because like in the articles, he was saying he didn't want to tour
Oh
anymore.
yeah,
And
no,
then
no,
the
yeah,
tour
yeah,
comes out. I'm like,
yeah.
and everybody's like, maybe he doesn't want to tour the amount that Exodus tours because they do tour
Yeah.
a lot.
Well, no, Jim. I think you got it wrong. I think he does want to tour, but he wants to A, do it on his own terms, and
Oh,
B,
okay.
he doesn't want to be a slave to Exodus because they're gonna go out on tour and they're gonna go everywhere. He doesn't want
Yeah,
to
yeah.
do.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I was telling Billy before we were talking during the week, and I was saying, well, I don't think he doesn't want to stop touring. He's got to make a living somehow.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm assuming, he by going on a short European tour, he's got to make some money, right? So
And I can imagine he's well loved in Europe. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exodus.
I would think so.
Yeah, I mean, but that would be successful through North America too. It'd be
Oh,
successful
absolutely. Yeah, for sure. It would.
because you don't really get to hear him playing Testament songs, other
Right.
than those one or two songs on that old album. But
Yeah,
so,
and
And
I'm
I
sure
wonder
he
what
got
Bon
permission
Scott
from the
era
band.
AC/DC songs he's going to sing. That would be cool.
well,
Yeah,
you know,
that's
Jim, he has his own band, right? He has a
Yes.
tribute band, yeah. So
That's
he
right.
he does local shows, doing all that. So that's probably that he'd probably have that stuff nailed.
That's
Oh, I'm
cool.
sure he does.
Yeah, yeah,
And he's
And
got
I
the
love
right
that
voice.
Zetro disc. I love it. I think it's great. I mean, why
that's
not?
cool.
Yeah.
And even the design though is a bit like Exodus. Like I don't know
Yes.
if like they're gonna go after him for copyright infringement.
I doubt they will.
I don't know, but
I doubt they
um,
will.
all right, cool. So yeah, that's it for me. So lots of things coming up, I guess, from all of us. So
Yeah.
that'll be something to be excited about. So let's
Yep.
jump to Warbringer. Really quick bio. Formed in 2004. Jim's got it there. From the LA scene. We got 7 albums. I already mentioned that. First was in 2008, War Without End. And then the latest that we just showed, Wrath and Ruin, just came out like last month. Lots of band member changes. We're not going to get into that. There was even a small break they took. But yeah, like I think it's safe to say they're probably one of the most successful modern thrash bands. Been around for quite a while. Excuse me. I mentioned Jim and I just saw them on tour. The place was packed. They do a great
Ken
job.
and you.
Huh?
You and Ken.
Oh yeah, who did I
Yeah.
say?
Jim.
Me.
I'd love
Oh,
You
to.
said Jim.
Jim wishes.
Yeah,
See,
damn
I'm
it.
so eager to get you to a damn show. And look, I even got a thumb up, and I didn't do that. So,
I saw that.
like, like even my computer's happy that Jim went to a show.
Yeah.
Jim came to Toronto.
Uh, but yeah, okay. And then for the band, and so one of the key members of the band is, of course, John Kevill on vocals. He's a great modern thrash frontman. Adam Carroll on guitars. We got 2 members with Chase Becker also on guitar, Chase Bryan on bass, and Carlos Cruz on drums. So yeah, interesting career, and I look forward to hearing each of your views of where the discography sits. So yeah, I won't give it away, but let's see where that all goes.
Well, I think you should also mention that they were Zombie. That's the original band that used to be. Adam Carroll and John Cavill were both in Zombie before they changed the name to Warbringer, which is kind of interesting. So
Why
I was
zombie?
like,
Like, were they like a horror themed band or?
yeah, it was, it was more horror themed. I have a couple splits they did as zombie. They're pretty good, but yeah. Then they decided to do the Warbringer thing and change the whole dynamic of the
Okay.
band.
Warbringer reminds me of that game Warhammer. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
remember that game with the little figures? Yeah,
I remember that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Had a band too, Warhammer, or no?
No, I think it.
No.
I don't
I don't
know.
think so. There's
Okay.
like a witch hammer. I know
Hammer
Maybe I'm
that.
King,
thinking glory. Isn't there Glory Hammer? Maybe or
And there's
the
Hammer
bolt
Lord
thrower.
and
yeah.
Hammer Lord,
Yeah.
which I've
Okay.
talked about before. Yeah,
Hammer
they're-
King is a kind of a more traditional heavy metal. They're pretty good. Hammer King. I have their CD here somewhere.
Okay. All right, so let's move to the question. So, a couple of these are kind of interesting questions, I guess, just in the sense of they show different behavior of, particularly around us old metal guys sometimes. But so my first question, so in addition to us doing this Thrashcast, I love watching everyone else's similar podcasts, and the amount of
yeah.
times, I'm not going to name any names, but the amount of times I hear people say, I listen to the new stuff, like the new thrash bands. There's nothing new to offer. It's just a retake of the stuff. And so I'm always a bit disappointed that people, you tend to, again, not everybody, but have sort of a closed-minded view of going beyond the classics that we all grew up with, particularly for guys in our age group. But just curious if you guys might have a theory why that might be. Ken, we'll start with you.
Well, the first question I'll throw back to you, Billy, is are they really fans of music in the first place?
Yeah.
Because I'm a music fan, you're a music fan, and so is Jim.
Yeah.
So we follow everything because we like music. So we're always listening to new stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's so stupid anyways, because the way I look at it, yeah, okay, somebody, if we're going to okay, for example, the first Warbringer album, War Without End, that when that came out, it got a lot of bad reviews. People are saying, "Oh, it's a derivative of Slayer. It's a derivative of this," and I don't agree. I totally disagree with
Same.
that. I always feel that when you're starting out with something, of course you're going to put your influences in there because you're trying to come up with your own style, and then you build from that. Warbringer is the best example. They've built a really good discography for 7 albums, and for me personally, I'm willing to go along for the ride. You can't tell me, oh, this is that, like, oh, these sound like Metallica or sound like Slayer. Yeah, you're at the end of the day, new thrash fans will never be able to leave like the Bay Area sound or the German sound at all because that came first. Well, that's always going to be the case. So I don't know. I mean, I don't have that viewpoint. I agree with you, Billy. I often question why people think that way because not everything is derivative.
Yeah, I know. But I'm not crazy. You guys have heard that too, right? Like so many.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But what
I
I'm
didn't think
saying
I
is
was the
that
only one.
if you want a genre to I guess to grow, you have to have new bands coming in, and yeah, they're going to sound like the classic bands, but eventually these bands, and I think tonight talking about Warbringer, they've developed their own sound and style.
Yeah.
And I mean, this new album, for example, is so diverse from what they've put out with the previous 6 albums, and we're going to talk about that. But yeah, so I don't get the concept of people complaining that everything is derivative. It's silly to me.
Yeah. No, I agree. Jim, anything you'd add?
Well, 2 things. To go on Ken's thing, I don't know, being 54, being an older metalhead, eventually all our idols and our metal bands are slowly falling off, obviously.
Yeah.
Which is a sad thing because metalheads tend to live a lot in the past, and we love those albums. They're very dear to our heart. But like, you need new, like, somebody to pass the torches to. Otherwise, like, I'm a big promoter of the movement, the metal movement, regardless of what the genre is. And, we're not going to see any growth if we don't hand some of these torches off and give some of the limelight to some of these new guys. And one of the things in reviewing this album with the song by song, I had a hard time even bringing up what it sound like in other with other bands. Like normally I say, hey, that has a Metallica sound, or that has an early Megadeth sound. I don't have that on this album. This album here experiments in a different way. And what I like about Warbringer is they bring hints of symphonic metal into it, a lot of traditional, and there's even some death metal on this album. This album
Black
in particular.
metal.
There's even black metal on that album.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, like 3 songs.
So they're forging ahead with a product when there's legacy thrash bands out there. And we talked about, as much as I was a big, I have it here somewhere, but I was a big promoter of the new Destruction, and you know, and you guys said, well, it's a little bit kind of, the last few albums have been the same, but that's an exact example. These guys are cutting edge with new ways of doing it and bringing new sounds, while some of them may be the legacy. And I love that Destruction album, but I'll be honest with you, I've been playing this a heck of a lot more than that, because this is a lot more original to me, listening to it, going like, wow, that they incorporated so many different genres and keeping the thrash genre front and center. But I just think there's so many bands like this that just don't get a chance, and they tend to fizzle out because people are too hung up on, like, Kill 'Em All from Metallica, which is my favorite album all time. But I don't want 1,000 Kill 'Em Alls out there. I want to have something that and it's the same thing with the death metal genre too. Like, you know, here I'm wearing an Obituary shirt. I love Obituary, and I love their new stuff they're putting out. But I love new death metal bands that are coming out as well. I absolutely love it. And I love it when they change it a little bit, or they, you know, and I just love the fact that this album, when I talk about it, it's going to be like, I think I have one band I compare one song to, and it's not even a thrash band. And because you get so much out of it. And I think people who aren't listening to this or giving it a chance are really shorting themselves. I mean, you know, if it's up to you, if you want to listen to all the original, whatever, the big four of all, nothing past 90, that's fine. I'm cool with that. But you're really missing out on a whole whack of stuff. Like, you know, you've got so many bands out there like that aren't even really new bands, like Heathen and then Enforced and all of them. And there's so much of a really positive movement going on in the genre right now that it kind of makes me angry when I see other people say, well, you know, it's not as good as, you know, the Megadeth or this, but that's not what they're trying to be. So, but I agree with you guys.
Yeah, no, those are all good points. I always viewed this one as, and I've heard other people say this too, like, think back when we were in our teens, all these classic albums were coming out, and obviously I can't speak for you guys, but like, I didn't have a lot of cash. So when I bought an album, even if it was crap, I was going to have that in my Walkman, and I was going to play it for months. So we actually got to know every nook and cranny of that old material, right? And now we're in our 50s. We've got houses to take care of. We got jobs. You know, some of us have kids, and the car's breaking down. And so you just really got to make an effort now to dedicate time to hear the new stuff. And I guess I get that. People are busier. And if you literally have 1 hour a month to listen, or 1 hour a week to listen to music, I don't know. I guess I get why someone might go pull like Master of Puppets or Kill 'Em All rather than 72 seasons. But so yeah. But anyway, I guess my main point is I think it's just, if you love music, and it kind of what you were alluding to, Ken, that you know you kind of you got to put the time in and give new bands a chance, and if you do, you'll be surprised. Yeah, you're not going to like everything.
No,
there's a lot of good stuff out there. Right.
And the accessibility factor is huge now compared, like you said it, Billy, when we were kids, you got $5, I got a $5 a week allowance. The albums were $6.99 for a tape back then. You know, I kind of had to save 2 weeks, and I had to make a decision based on what the magazines were saying, or just by the look of the album cover. I remember when I bought, I think it was See You in Hell by Grim Reaper. I bought it based on the album cover, and I was just like, but I mean, I put the investment in, like you said, I was going to, and luckily it turned out it was a great album, an awesome album. But, you know, I remember buying Tyrant, Germany, Mean Machine. And I remember just bought it on the cool Barbarian cover. And I played the hell out of it. And I love that album, you know, but it's just stuff like that. We had to nook and cranny it, as you say. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Master. When I bought Master Puppets, I played that to death for
Oh
months
yeah,
and months and months.
Yeah.
And it was like one album, just played it
yeah,
over and over and over on my Walkman too.
Yeah.
So I remember those days when you didn't have a lot of money and you bought a couple albums and that was what you listened to for. I
Yeah.
think that's a good. The point you're making, Billy, makes sense. A lot of people when we were that young were probably in that same situation where they
Yeah.
didn't have a lot of money, so they bought one album, and it over time it got so ingrained in them
Yeah.
they can't see past. Like I hate the people now who complain about modern Metallica. Okay, fine, but
that's me.
that's just the way it is. I know, Jim, but you
gotta
know what
call
I'm
Jim
saying.
out.
Like there's
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
there's two types of people who can't accept the fact that Metallica's
Yeah.
moved past 1986. Like it's just part of life. But I can see what you're saying about that, though, Bill. That's a good point.
And you know what? Also, think about it. We were buying these albums, and they were selling millions of copies, and
That's right.
there was no radio play. Videos were just coming on, and there was no videos. So it was like this
No internet.
massive. I wouldn't even call it underground. Now it would be underground, but then it was because now you just have to type in a name. You can get it on YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, whatever. But back then, everybody. I'd go to school, and there'd be five. Like everybody had, like you said, Master of Puppets. Everybody'd have it. It'd be playing on a boombox, Ghetto Blaster. We'd be just, oh man, and not a single video, not a single ever played on the radio. We all bought that based on Metallica, like, yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. So we kind of answered the second question, which is why are we different?
Yeah.
So that's cool. I think we're all we're unique that way, right? We all think the same way. We're all buying new music. We're going
Yeah.
to concerts of new bands. We're supporting them. So yeah, I mean, I think we're doing our job to support bands. Okay, cool. So someone mentioned this, maybe you, Jim. But speaking of Bandcamp, so what do you guys think? Is it harder or easier for new bands to break out today, right? So now you got YouTube, you got Bandcamp, you got the internet. Like, when the three of us were buying music, none of that existed. But
Yeah.
for some reason, it feels like to me, like there was this word of mouth and you'd see the album covers and it
that's
was
right.
exciting. And for some reason, we all zeroed in on the good stuff. It feels like in the old days, where now my view is there's so much damn stuff on the internet. I just can't track it. I can't listen to it all. There's just too much of it. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Does it help or hurt, Jim?
I think it hurts a bit. I'm thinking of being a marketer and somebody who manages a retail outlet. You want to get your product out quick, fast, and furious, but you have to have the backing to do it. Anybody can seem to get together with a computer now because the software is so good. They can make something themselves and promote it themselves like that. But I think that the biggest thing, I think it's harder because even though back in the old days you were held kind of at gunpoint by the record company and signed some crappy deals to get out there, at least the promotion in most cases was there and it was direct. Now the thing is, and Bandcamp's a great way for people. I go on there all the time. I know you guys do, especially looking for bands that don't have a label yet, that are doing their own thing. I think it's great. But yeah, just the sheer amount of stuff you're bombarded with on YouTube and that, because it's just crazy to try to keep track of it all. But I'm a strong believer in most cases the cream will always rise to the top. I think of that like with sports, players like in hockey and stuff. If you're good, you'll find it. They'll find you. I think in a lot of cases with that, I think it's the same thing. If it's a great product, a great product, it's going to find a way through to the fans. But I think it's a little bit of, even though everybody says, oh yeah, you could do this, it's a bit of a hindrance. And also to hinder it even more is you're not getting from the physical merchandise sales, you're not getting, they cut their largest amount of revenue away from the acts. I mean, yes, you can still get it touring, but that's a whole other ball of wax nowadays with the cost of touring. But, I mean, think about it back when we were younger, and even in the early 2000s, up until probably 2010, maybe 2005, before any streaming services and that came along and YouTube started really promoting it heavily, people had to go out and buy this stuff. And the band was making half decent money on physical sales. So we've kind of cut them off. We've made it harder for them. We've made it easier to get their product out to the masses, but we've cut them off at the knees for a lot of these metal bands. A lot of the members work regular jobs or part-time jobs to help supplement their income, which I think of these guys like Warbringer, for instance. I think of them as rock stars, and for me, a rock star is the lifestyle of being a rock star. But that's not the way it is anymore, and I think that's really, really sad, because the art tends to suffer when you're kind of banging your head against the wall. Flotsam and Jetsam's a great example. They have a hard time. They sent, from what we understand, we were just summarizing, that we think a lot of their physical copies went to Europe first because they were selling it over there, and I know everybody was waiting for their copies out of us free for quite some time. So it really hurts like that, but I think it's harder nowadays. There's just so much competition. The purity of the production can be so good now because they take away that error or that down. If there's a mistake, it's not left in, and you don't have that anymore. So I don't know. I think it's a bit harder nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. That's a good. I mean, at the end of the day, financially, like just the way it is that you put your stuff online, or people have to stream it and you get paid nothing. It kind of brings me back to Lars, right? Back when he was after Napster. I've heard a few bands say, you know what? He was right. Like bands are literally can't make a living because all this stuff is up online for free or next to nothing, or on Spotify, Apple Music, and the band gets next to nothing for it. So it's kind of came full circle, right? Lars actually was right about all that stuff. So I don't know. Ken, what are your thoughts?
Well, I'm not as pessimistic about it. I think it's a good thing. I still think it's a good thing. And I say this because now, because a lot of bands don't have to worry about record contracts, and then we've heard the stories about a lot of these major 80s bands who struggle with contracts and struggle with insane productions and just the whole
their rights.
Yeah. But what my point being though is that with Bandcamp now, you can still get your music out there. Yeah, okay, there's going to be competition. We won't deny that. But without it, how do you find these bands? Like, and you have to put it this way: if you're a band and you're going on tour and you don't have a name, well, then it's great to have Bandcamp because you can put your T-shirts up on there, and then people see that, and then they go, when I go to the show, I'm going to buy that shirt if they don't want to buy it like on Bandcamp. So I think it's a good thing. You're not gonna. What you were saying at your question, Billy, about it's overwhelming. It is, because I'm always discovering a band I didn't know about. And like I turn on YouTube and it's like I never heard this band, but that's cool. Same on Instagram, same on Facebook. Like the social media is where you need to go to advertise for your band. So I think it's a good thing. Overall, I still think it's a good thing, but yeah, it is overwhelming.
Yeah, and it's interesting now with like AI. So you're on like Spotify and like you play something, and then they give you 10 new bands that sound like that band. So like you're just on this constant journey, and it probably comes back to you just don't have enough time to spend with every album to really get into those nooks and crannies to appreciate it, right? When you're jumping around too much. But again, that's on us, right? If you like it, and you got to give it time and spend some time with it. Cool.
Very true.
Okay, so let's jump back to Warbringer. So for anyone out there who doesn't know Warbringer, give me 2 or 3 things that sort of make Warbringer special, or why somebody should listen to them. What's the Warbringer secret sauce? Ken, let's start with you.
It's actually one, Billy. It's John Cavill, the vocalist.
Oh, him? Yeah, I like him, but
I think he's after watching him in concert that we went to a few weeks back. Yeah, this dude is like high energy. He commands the audience. He's great. He's got an incredible voice. Still, after like they started on 2008, so he still sounds great after all these years. For me, that's my attraction is Kevel. I like his vocals. It's unique. He doesn't really sound like anyone else. He's got a different sound. He doesn't. So I like him. For me, I think that's what I like. I mean, the music is always great. It's always frenetic, fast tempo thrash. They don't. Every song is just a whippersnapper, especially the first like 3 or 4 albums. But yeah, I think it's John Kevel for me.
Yeah, I mean, John's probably my first reason, uh, but but I also think the band writes like it's their
Yeah,
songwriting too. There's so many
yeah,
like big catchy hooks, and we alluded to this earlier, but the band's going into different unique directions. Like I've got
yeah,
songs where I'm gonna call out mellow death metal, black metal. There's even a prog metal track, right? Like
yep,
they're not
yep,
staying in. They're willing to explore and take chances, and so that should that deserves some attention, right? Because people complain they sound like Destruction or Creator, but when they take on these unique styles and merge styles, they're really evolving. So that's cool.
yeah,
Jim.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. The vocalist is the first thing, but I mean, I agree. The different types, like this is modern thrash, the way modern thrash needs to be. It needs to be cutting edge. It needs to be something new that you haven't heard before. And I think with many of these albums, even in they've got a fairly light discography because when did they start? In what was the
2008,
first album? 2011, 2008.
2008.
Albums.
Yeah, 7 albums, and so they've been around for a while, but each album has its own, like you said, secret sauce, and I think that's what it is. This album, Wrath and Ruin, right now is my number 1 pick so far for 2025, and it's beating out, just edging out Dream Theater's latest album, which I'm a huge Dream Theater fan. So that says a lot. I mean, I love the fact it's a thrash album, but it has so many different directions in it, and they just do so much in it that they make it exciting to hear. And I think that's the thing. And I think this album's doing really well in the sense of because I read a lot online, it's gotten a lot of high praise, and a lot of people really seem to like it more so than any negative reviews in that. But I just think the musicianship is second to none. The vocalist is amazing, and it's just such a melding of all different types of metal genres, keeping with thrash being the forefront. And I think that's how they've come up with a formula that absolutely kills.
Cool. So speaking of in the topic of modern thrash bands, so question to each of you guys, can you come up with, again, for our listeners who are not super familiar with modern bands, just give us 1 or 2 bands that you think deserve special attention out of the many modern thrash bands. So Jim, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I just picked a couple here, but I mean, I've got Enforced.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Like they've got 3 full albums, many EPs. That's Kill Grid. I've got War Remains was their latest, other than an EP that came out, and they've got Out the Walls. So in 2019. So I mean, they're really good. Virginian thrash, kind of a little bit of death mixed in, but really good band. I really like them. And then one from Manchester, England, Tortured Demon, which is just they're working on a 3rd album. They have a few EPs. Their first album, In Desperation's Grip, in 2021, and I have these here. I actually have them signed from the band, but I couldn't find them in my mess. And then their second full-length album, Rise of the Lifeless, in 2023. I mean, some of these members were still in high school in 2023 when they were still doing this. And I believe they had pushed, they played Bloodstock, I think, in 2022. And the stage had to be repaired because so many people jammed into, I don't know, Billy, you've been to Bloodstock, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do they have multi-stages?
Yeah, they have more than one stage.
Yeah, so they were playing in like a 1,500. They jammed, I think,
Smaller stage.
2,500 people in there, and it did damage to the stage and that. And I think that's so cool. And there's all kinds of cool videos of them at that show just ripping it. And they would have played like probably an afternoon show because they would have been a little lower on the bill. But these are, I mean, talented thrash band, and just a couple there, just right off the, right out of the gate that I think people should look at. And I mean, Enforced, they just had another EP, I think, Billy, did they not?
Yeah.
Just last year. And hopefully that, and I know, Billy, you interviewed them, I believe.
Yeah. The singer, yeah.
Yeah. Wicked band, and just heavy stuff. But again, those three, like with Warbringer, those three bands for me all kind of fill a different niche. Like I find Enforced a little bit more maybe death infused. I find Tortured Demon might be even a little bit of groove thrash, and maybe even some other stuff there. And then Warbringer, I find, especially on this new album, it's just got all kinds of genre mixing going on. So, and that's what you have to be to set yourself apart from the rest out there.
Cool. Yeah, those are good bands. Ken, who would you recommend?
Well, first of all, Toxic Holocaust out of the States. One of my favorite bands.
Wicked band.
Joel Grimes is a pretty unique dude. Like, he's pretty much the main guy behind the band. I have other albums. They're all entertaining. A good fusion of like thrash, punk. It's great. Great band. Angelus Apatrida from Spain. They don't get a lot of talk here, but they have several albums out. I pretty much have all their albums. I just reviewed, like, for the Metal Pit, was it last year? Yeah, their last album. Solid band if you want to go back to hear them. And even Suicidal Angels out of Greece, another great band that's carved a really good modern, like, next to Warbringer. I think they have 7 to 8 albums, and they've carved a really good niche for themselves in the thrash genre as well. I know they have, that's a great album, Profane.
Yeah.
All the Ed Repka covers, they know where it's at. That's a really, really good band. But yeah, those three are really solid albums if you're looking for some different bands that aren't necessarily all American.
Yeah.
Even Evil out of the UK is even pretty solid. So,
yep, no, that makes sense. I had a couple. So for me, on the crossover side, personally for me, this is my favorite modern thrash band. And sadly, with the death of their singer, the band's in a bit of a limbo.
Yeah.
But for me, Power Trip is.
Oh yeah.
I just think there's very few people who can write those hooks and breakdowns, and the band has so much charisma live. And again, sad that we lost Riley, of course, and so. Yeah. We'll see if they continue. They're doing shows, but whether it be musically or you're just into music that you want to see live, these guys, like, you're not going to get much better in that crossover genre. So the other one is a band I've been talking a lot about lately, I guess, or a few times, Hellripper from Scotland. So I think, young James McBain, he's like a one-man band, but like he's I don't think there's a lot that sounds exactly like that, right? He differentiated from the old thrash by doing the blackened thrash vocals. He brings in a lot of new wave of or old or new wave or whatever of traditional metal into the music, but he can thrash really hard. And so yeah, I think that's really unique, and they don't get a lot of press here. So and they rarely ever come. I don't think they've ever come to Canada for that matter. So, but definitely a band I think worth checking out.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So what? So that's like, I don't know, like with Warbringer, that's like 9 or 10 bands that I think people can do no wrong. If they just limit to 9 those bands and go out there, they're gonna like 3 or 4 for sure.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, cool. And then lastly, we always do the artwork. So Ken, I'm going to go to you. Warbringer artwork. Do you have a favorite? And I'm probably with Jim there, but do you have a favorite? And what do you think of the catalog art in general?
I'll start with the catalog art. They're cool. They've had some really good artists work on their albums, like Dan Seagrave, who we all know is the big kind of death metal artist who did, like Entombed and all the big bands. They've used him on a bunch of albums like Waking into Nightmares and Worlds Torn Asunder. He did both of those two album covers, and they're pretty solid. I like them both. Their recent stuff, they go to Andreas Marshall, and we've talked about him before. He's the big kind of German artist who's worked with like Creator, Sodom. They've used him on Weapons, and they've also Woe to the Vanquished, and now the latest album they've used him on. So I think those are cool. My favorite album cover is the first album cover. I like it the best. Des Ambrose. I love Des. Des is a great artist. I was friends with Des, and this is going to date myself way back when we had MySpace. That's where I first found Warbringer. Anyways, was on MySpace, and Des, because Des was when he did that cover, he had it on his page. So I saw it, and I was like, "Oh, this is really really good." But I've always had an affinity towards the first album, and I love that cover a lot. It's so great.
It's a wicked cover.
Yeah,
Jim,
I like that.
how about you?
Yeah, I'm with Ken. I love that War Without End with the tank and the devil in the background. But
Yeah,
I mean, I got to admit, this would probably be pretty close. What an amazing, beautiful kind of cover with this one. Really, really like it. But yeah, that tank is wicked. I love that with all the fire and all the bones underneath. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I don't know. I guess I lean more towards the newer ones. Like probably
Okay.
my favorite is Weapons of Tomorrow.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
so I don't know, but I also love the name, right? Like you know how like some bands where the name on the actual album art adds so much. And I
Right.
think this is one of them too, right? So that's
Yeah.
and the only one I don't like is Empire Collapse.
That
I
Uh,
one I don't like either.
I
Yeah.
like
yeah.
it.
That's I hate that one. It's a
The
bad.
music or the album, Jim, the cover.
The
Or both.
cover I like. Well, the
You like
album,
the cover?
well, it does, it ranks low for me, but I like the
Yeah.
cover. It kind of
I
Really?
don't.
gives me a bit of a black metal kind of feel to just the look of
I
it.
don't like it.
I kind of like it, but it's not one of my favorite albums. No.
It's a bad T-shirt design, dude.
Yeah, true.
It's a really bad T-shirt design. It's the worst cover. I don't know. I've often wondered why they had that cover because the album isn't bad, but that cover just doesn't excite me at all. I'm like, why did
No,
they do that? So weird.
I don't get it. It's an outlier in the catalog for sure.
That's
And,
right.
and even their logo on it's it looks kind of like a playing card, kind of with a, and it
Yes.
just says Warbringer
Yeah,
along the top. It's not like the big Warbringer, which I agree, Ken, that it makes it that much more identifiable.
Yeah. It's I'm not a fan of it.
Oh well, so we're all kind of in roughly the same agreement, I guess. Okay, so let's jump to the actual album, Wrath and Ruin, do our track by track breakdown. So the first thing up is the sword and the cross. I don't know, let's start with Jim.
Oh yeah, this is an amazing way to start off an album. I mean, first of all, there's no bad tracks on this album, but I like that ominous intro. It's very symphonic when it starts. It's 30 seconds. The song takes off at about 30 seconds into a massive sound with that galloping riff. At 112, the vocals cut in with amazing high guitar riff. It's a heavy song. I love the chorus and the sword, the sword, the sword. I mean, at 2:35, there's that guitar mini solo, which is really cool. And then at 3 minutes, I find that song kind of breaks into a classic thrash groove. And okay, this is the two songs I will compare to another band. I lied earlier. I think the second half of the song has kind of a Metallica groove on the guitars, but only the second half. And at 4 minutes, I mean, that solo is killer. And
Yeah,
and then at 5:03, the wicked heavy vocals just cut back in. I mean, this is a wicked, wicked song. I if I had to pick favorites, I mean, I think one of my favorites is farther down the record, really. But this one's a great way to start off the album. I love it.
Cool. Ken?
Yeah, this is a good song too. Now, what you failed to, well, you didn't fail, but what you did mention, Jim, was that the start of the
Jim's in
song,
cool.
the sword.
You get an F.
No, I was just gonna say, like, with the sword coming out of the sheath, that's such a big thing. It's like it just sets the tone right there. Yeah. And funny because Billy and I saw this show, that sword he had it basically in his hand the whole time while he sang the song, which I thought just gave the song so much more importance on a live setting because he was brandishing that sword around the whole time, and he didn't let go. He held on to the sword through the whole song, so it's pretty good. I love it as a prop because lyrically it's all about dark fantasy, right? So it's all about the song that like it explores themes of like power and ideology and control, and the song's about a callous lord who uses brute force with a sword. So I love it. So it's a great song. But everything you said about that song, Jim, is perfect. Yeah, it's a great majestic kind of opening, and it's just killer all the way through. And John's vocals are awesome in it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you guys. It's pretty epic, right? For a thrash, it starts with a 6 minutes. There's many long songs on this record. So yeah, I think that in itself is kind of interesting. But yeah, it's great. You guys kind of hit on it. But for me, like when they start the thrashy parts of the song, it's right in the band's sweet spot. I think they do a great job. Like the massive riff hooks are all over this thing. And I gotta agree, like John is like the highlight. He just anchors all these songs with his powerful voice, and that solo at like 3:30, it kind of actually it's very neoclassical. Like it almost sounds like a Malmsteen thing, which I don't hear that on the rest of the album, but they kind of break into that. The drumming is excellent, like really good rapid fire drums on here, and great chorus. And I don't know. Like it's funny. Before I was waiting for my album to arrive in shipping, and it was really delayed a couple weeks. You guys probably had it before me, but like I was reading reviews because I was excited, and the amount of times I heard people like rip on these songs and the opener for saying they're too long. Like they all felt like they should have been cut by a minute, but I don't get that at all. Like I never once listen to this at 6 minutes and say, "Oh, that's dragging on." I think it's but it's true. Like I kept reading it, and there's some, and everyone thought the last two songs were bloated and too long, and a lot of the reviews. So we'll tackle them. I don't think so, but again, maybe they're just people stuck in the old days.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Cage of Air is. I don't think it's long enough.
There you go. Then we'll go to a short track, right? So, but for this album, 3 hours and 45 minutes is pretty short. So, Ken, we'll start with you, A Better World.
Yeah, this is an all right song. It's very simple. They don't do a lot here. They just basically have a good chug that starts up, and then you get that solo. It's 3 minutes long, but I think I guess it's meant to do its thing. So, because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't this the first single on the album, Better World?
Yes, one of the singles.
The first song that they released, right?
Yeah, it was one of the singles. I don't know if it's first, but
first.
Okay.
Well, yeah, that's why I thought it was the first. Yeah, so I think it does its job. I mean, it's basic lyrics, like it's all about disillusionment, despair in the face of like a society that's decaying. So it's simple. It gets to the point. It's kind of a standard kind of Warbringer thrasher, I think, from way back when they sort of went for the crunch and just went through quick. But I like it. It's an all right song. I don't mind it at all.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Like, I think it's a little bit more, certainly compared to some of the stuff on here, it's more straightforward. But like, I don't know. I also get some like mellow death aspects in this song, where some of the riffing's a little bit more mellow death, and I think the vocals get a little closer here. They do more in some of the later songs, but yeah. So I think this is interesting. I appreciate it. It's not like so mundane and all in the same zone. They kind of jump around a bit, so I enjoy it. And there's actually some pretty cool cymbal work in the song. So some intricate cymbals.
Carlos Cruz is a really good drummer.
Yeah, I like that. Jim, your thoughts on A Better World?
Yeah, I mean, this has got a really cool killer thrash drum and guitar intro, and I think it's got a lot of groove to it. It breaks into a heavy groove. It's fast. It's got melodic. I consider it more of a melodic thrash song on this album. Heavy drums and bass. At 2:30, you got that massive solo, and I love this kind of the lighter scream that fades out at the end. It's pretty cool. But no, it's a good. I'm kind of shocked that that you've read that, Billy, about the song one, because I think song one is kind of almost like the magnum opus for this album. It's such a like a massive piece, and then it's kind of cool that they jump back with a shorter song. But but no, I like the song. It's pretty cool. It's a great follow up to the first track.
Yep. No, we all agree. So we're 2 for 2. So Jim, we'll stay with you and go
Oh,
to. Okay, so I'm gonna.
yeah, this
You,
is
I haven't even said the name of the song,
yeah,
and Jim's getting excited. So Jim, over to you then.
Neuromancer. So that
Neuromancer, yeah.
bass line in this has got the darker vocals. This is more of a death. It's an aggressive track, more of a death metal vibe for me, which I really like. I like that 136, that little, I call it a cymbal chug where ting, 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 ting. It's pretty cool. I mean, this goes on with that bass line. It's a killer thrash, darker thrash song. And it's a minute and 12 seconds before the vocals even cut in, but it's a pounding song. And I find it very death metal like, and I love the vocals on it. I think it's one of my favorites on the album.
It's interesting. I don't know if you got, and for the life of me, I can't remember, unfortunately, what magazine it was in. But John gave an interview, and he basically broke down his view of every song, and he explained the lyrics in every song, and he talked about some interesting things that are new to the song. And this was one where he said it's like the only song. So Jim, you mentioned it. Like there's some old school like death metal style vocals, but like John said in the interview that this is one of the only Warbringer songs he's ever done where he's completely in his lowest register.
I
He
believe
doesn't
that.
do the screams. He doesn't do anything, and so that makes this song very unique from anything they've kind of done before. But Ken.
Well, at 4 minutes, he does have that Chuck Billy kind of roar. He adds it in there. It's really, you get it. Like to me, there's a lot of Chuck Billy here. This is where he's kind of going with the song, with that kind of death, with a little bit of death, like harsher vocals. This is like they're one of the best written lyrically songs for me because it's based on William Gibson's Neuromancer novel. And if you're familiar with that book, it's a fantastic book about the idea of AI technology or as an AI entity coming to life and breaking and finding freedom from its creators. It's a very, very important science fiction novel, which I've read thousands of times. And I was surprised that they actually use that book as as basis for the song. I was actually shocked. When I first saw the title of the song, Neuromancer, I was like, right away I said, no, this can't be like a William Gibson song. And sure enough, it is. So I think that's great. But I like it. It's a really, really good song. The vocals are really good here. Overall, everything that Jim pointed out, yeah, I would agree. It's a fantastic song for the band.
Yeah, I love it, and more like songwriting variety. Like that's one of the best things about this record, right? There's different. Everything's a little bit different. This also, again, drumming wise, has some great like cymbal work in it.
Yep.
I know I keep pointing that out, but you don't normally hear such good like other than like Death or Cynic, a focus on the cymbals in the music.
Well, you know what though, Billy? Apparently, Carlos Cruz wrote all the music. He wrote every song.
He wrote everything, even.
Yeah.
Oh,
yep.
okay.
Yeah. He's basically the. Which I'm surprised because usually drummers don't normally like. I mean, I know Charlie Benante of Anthrax. He's like a major songwriter because he's pretty much in on every song as well. But apparently, Carlos Cruz wrote the music for every song.
But John did all the lyrics, I think, right?
As far as I know, the lyrics are by him, but Carlos did all the music, which is interesting.
Oh, he never mentioned that interview with John I was talking about. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's what I've read. I've read that basically Carlos's.
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm looking at the list now, and he's on there with Adam Carroll's done a couple, but it's all Carlos Cruz and all lyrics by John.
And he replaced Nick Ritter because Nick Ritter passed away in 2017. Right. So they brought him into the band. And I think they had a little bit of a break there, and they brought him in. But he's a good drummer. He's a really, really good drummer.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that brings us to track 4, Jackhammer. Ken, I think they played this one too live, right? Or am I wrong?
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
this
they
would
play
be
live.
wicked live.
This is a good one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's heavy. Yeah, it's really heavy and chuggy. It's got that quick frenetic pace. I mean, again, it's a short song. I noticed that. I think what you were mentioning earlier, Bill, about people not liking the long stuff. I think people like the short songs. So
Mhm.
if you notice, they have 5 or 6 longer songs, and then they throw in those short 3 minute
Mhm.
stompers, which I think this is
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the jackhammer, and it's great, and it's all about like the idea of street justice, and there's a reference in one of the lyrics of curb stomping in a dark cloud world. It's like they go for the throat here, but I like it for what it is. It's a good song, and it was good live when we heard it live.
Yeah, I love this track. The only thing I'd add to it is, so do you guys find like there's like a killer like tempo groove change at
Yes.
140, and it
Yep,
totally
yep,
sounds like Power Trip. I'm not
yep,
saying you're
yep.
copying Power Trip, but and then like you have John scream exactly as Riley would, and as he does in many of the songs, he's like, swing the
The
hammer
hammer
away.
away.
It's just like that song they do, Swing of the Axe, and Riley jumps in on that like breakdown doing shouting swing of the axe. Like it reminds me of that. But not saying this song copies Power Trip. I mean, it nothing overall it sounds nothing like Power Trip, but that one line is right
Mhm.
out of a Power Trip album. Uh,
Yeah.
Jim.
Yeah, not much else to say. I had that swing the hammer away that changes the song's direction, which is
Yeah.
pretty cool. But I mean, it has that wicked drum and that kind of really original riff intro that happens right after the drums start up the song. It's fast and the vocals are nice and fast. I think it's pretty cool. And to Ken's point, you can tell there's some mathematics here in there, the long song, long song, and
Yeah.
short song.
I
And
noticed
yeah,
that.
I can
Yeah.
appreciate. I think people's maybe their attention spans aren't as long as they used to be,
That's probably
but
true.
that's a good idea. That's a good a good observation that Jackhammer's smacked in between a 527, 314, and the next song's 458, and then 344 after that. It kind of makes sense to do it that way. But yeah, I love this song. I'd love to see this live. I mean, this is just an explosive song all the way around.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yep. So we're all in agreement. So I think we're all 4 for 4. Great stuff. And given the album's only 8 tracks, that's half the album
40
already.
minutes and 6 seconds.
That's a good sign. So Jim, we're gonna go now. We're
Oh,
breaking out into something a little different.
Yeah.
Through a Glass Darkly. Over to you.
this is cool. I mean, that kind of guitar intro that happens has you questioning if it's a ballad or what. Starts off kind of wondering, and then you have that kind of whispering vocals that come in, and then
And
40
raspy.
seconds kind of
Yeah.
it builds up to a heavy chug. And I love that leads into this really cool riff. It's more of a traditional metal song mixed with thrash for me. Has a
Mhm.
darker, evil vocals. I like it. This is probably, I don't know, it's between this and number 7. This got to be one of my favorite tracks. This may be my 1B or my 1A. It's amazing. I love the evil sounding vocals, and I love the traditional sound, the new wave of British heavy metal traditional sound that mixes with the speed up version of the thrash as the song gets going. This is exactly why people should get this album. This is one of the tracks that should be there for sure, that people will fall in love with.
Cool. Ken.
Yeah, this is my favorite song on the album.
Wicked.
I for me lyrically, it's my favorite song because they use the General George Patton poem that he wrote. So basically, if you know anything about Patton, he believed himself to be reincarnated from an ancient warrior. So this is what the song is somewhat based on, which is great. But I think that this is where a bit of the black metal kind of comes in there, slightly with
Mm-hmm.
the vocals, the
Yeah.
raspy vocals. I like it. I like the way that it's cleverly kind of entwined in the chorus. It works well. And I like the Maiden-esque. Jim. You were mentioning a new wave of British heavy metal. There's a very
Mm-hmm.
Maiden-esque kind of soaring guitar style at the end of the song, which really, really works. That solo is really, really good. But yeah, this is a really good song, and it's different. It's a little different from the band, but I
Mhm.
like it. I like it because it is different, and it's not just 3 minutes of thrashing, which I love. But I like it when they want to expand the sound a little bit and throw a little bit of something different in there, just to give it a bit different flavor. And this song has a lot of that in it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. And it's interesting though, because that point you made, Ken, that applies to 5, track 7, and track 8. Like all
Yeah,
Mhm.
of them are so different and
Yeah.
add so much to the album. But yeah, I think you guys have said it. Like for me, I liked it. Just I really like the dark epic feel to it.
Yeah.
For me, I agree with Ken. The black metal, mellow death vibes are all over this thing.
yeah, yeah.
Like I get a lot. This is kind of that dark sound with a lot of melody, is what you're hearing from like Dark Tranquility and
Mhm.
Insomnium and Primordial, and even some Paradise Lost is mixed
Mhm.
there. That
That's a
dark
good one.
kind of gothic-y thing. So like, there's a lot of unique, cool styles in here, and there's time where like, even though it's melodic, John's vocal still has like plenty of bite on it, but it's like over
Mhm.
the melodic like sound of the music. Like, yeah, it's very cool. I agree with you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, Ken, sticking with you. Track number 6, Strike from the Sky.
Yeah, this is again is a standard kind of thrasher, and
Mhm.
I get like a lot of bonded by blood vibes here. Just it's short. There's like the one tempo change. I like that. There's some gang shouts, which I kind of like that they threw in
Yeah.
there just to give it that little bit of a different flavor. They don't really use a lot of gang shouts
No.
in their songs, but this one I thought kind of just we'll throw a little bit of that in there just to give it
Yeah.
some flavor. The riffs are great. It's a very short song, and again, it's like a standard war song because they're talking about the idea of the idea of an airstrike and how the song questions the morality behind and the impact of having a war, an airstrike in war. So it's interesting. So I kind of, it just reminded me. I'm not saying it is, but it kind of reminded me a little bit of Bonded by Blood. I felt that style and just the way the vocals are kind of like up in front. It just reminded me of that. But it's a good song. It's another good short song.
Yep. No, this is out of like the thrashers that are not
Mhm.
experimenting. This is probably my favorite for sure. And it was interesting in that interview with, like, when I had heard it, for me, I get Slayer, right? Like John is
Okay.
doing these yelling, high pitched yells, and in that interview, he was like, "Yeah, I was channeling my Tom Mariah
Nice.
on like his vocals on, not intentionally, but he had
Yeah, yeah.
like after hearing it later." Like it really sounds like those screams sound a lot like Tom and Slayer. But yeah, I mean, otherwise, I think you guys said it all. And yeah, I love those gang vocals, right? Like the chorus here is a bit like a crossover. Like there's some cool bass going on, and then the gang shouts. It kind of works pretty well. But the only other thing I'm going
Yeah.
to say, and I love track 7 and 8, but I probably would have put 6 last, just to
Oh,
go
okay.
out on a banger. But anyways,
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
that's a small little complaint because I love 7 and 8.
Hmm.
Okay, Jim, did I get you or no?
No, no.
Okay, you're
That
up,
yeah,
man.
you guys said it all. I mean, what I like about it, I think it's got a pretty groovy chorus. I think it's for me, I get early Death Angel. It's funny we all pick Californian
Bay
bands here.
Area, yeah, Bay Area bands, yeah.
Yeah, like we all picked one, Slayer, Exodus, and I thought it had a. This is the only other song that I compared with another band besides the other one by Metallica. I thought it had a more of a kind of a Death Angel vibe, but yeah, you guys said it all. It's a quick thrasher. I think it's you're slammed in between two really great songs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. No, cool. So then, Jim, we'll stick with you. We're going to track number 7, second to last, Cage of Air. I think you've
Yeah, this is probably my
hinted
one
you're
A on
a
the record. Love this album. But Ken, I'm not sure. You may know it. What exactly is that? A movie intro?
No.
No.
No, but I don't. It might be. I was thinking that too.
Yeah, I
No,
couldn't
it's
Um,
find
not.
anything.
In the
But
interview that
Oh,
the
okay.
interview I read, it's actually John, his wife, and Adam Carroll. They
Oh,
oh,
were
okay,
doing
cool.
some voiceover stuff for other things like commercials and acting, and they threw it on the song.
oh, okay.
Okay,
So
cool.
it's actually the band and the wife of the singer.
Well, I mean,
Nice.
I thought it
Cool.
has a great intro with that and the classical picking guitars. I
Yeah.
mean, this is just it's heavy, another heavy dark vibe. I think the amount of bass they use in this is just phenomenal. The drums at 119, the song just explodes, and the heavy thundering vocals are amazing. And there's a wicked bass ref. I think it's around 324, and it kind of tempo changes the song into a different direction that leads into a wicked guitar solo around 432, and then it returns after that back to more of the a classical picking, and then back into a bit more of a traditional vibe. It's got a wicked drum beat, and at 610 he's got that cool scream, and I find it goes even to a little bit of a death metal vibe just at the end of the song. So this song like has everything in it, just like Five. I think this is another massive song on this album, and I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, Ken?
Yeah, I think there's a large black metal vibe
Oh,
in this
yeah,
for me. I
totally.
Yeah.
don't get the death, I don't get the death metal as much for me. I don't see that, but the black metal, especially with the guitar droning, like there's a really nice passage you get towards the end of the song, and it's like black metal. It's sort of got that kind of black metal droning, which I don't. That's the one thing about black metal that I do not like. I don't like the droning guitar sound you get in majority of bands, but that's just me. It's personal taste.
But don't you
But I
find,
think it
Ken, the
works.
drumming is really black metal as well?
Yeah, yeah. The drum. You're right.
Rapid
You're right. The
fire, yeah.
drumming. You're right. The drumming is for sure, for sure. I don't mind it. I mean, I guess in terms of it in a song, like secret sauce in a song, yeah, it's great. It's unique. It's different. So it works here for me too. Um, I love the title of the song, "Cage of Air," and I was thinking about what the song meant, and it's sort of about the idea of a surveillance control, and then the idea that are we really free as a society? So they're talking about like digital monitoring, and then the societal expectations of it, and how it controls your life. So I think it's kind of interesting for a song, but it's unique. It's a very very unique song for track number 7.
Yeah. No, I agree with both you guys. All you guys make good point. I think it's the most progressive song,
Yeah.
probably on the record. It's 7 minutes. Like especially like that when it slows down and kind of like right in the middle, it really gets into a prog area, right? It
Mm-hmm.
kind of sounds like Opeth, some more
A little
modern
bit. Yeah.
Opeth a little bit. That kind of comes through for me. But yeah, I think it's great. I love the different directions and yeah, good on them for doing this. It's a nice change of pace. Okay, so we're pretty much. I don't think there's anything we haven't not liked.
No.
So that's a good sign. So then we go to the last song, another fairly long one, "The Last of My Kind." Ken, we'll let you start on this one.
Yeah, this is a really good song too. I mean, especially because you get this acoustic opening, and it's got a soundtrack, ominous tone feeling to it, and then when it kicks in with the chug and the tempo, wow, it just takes off. I like John's vocals here a lot. They're a little bit more on the raspier side, and he's very tierce for the most part. But I don't know. For me, the chug is really catchy, and there's a really catchy chug beat at about 314, and then it's like it slows down, and then
Yeah.
they get the tempo shifts, and then you get again they add on these kind of maidenous kind of soaring guitars, which I love. It's like it's unexpected. It's like you don't hear this kind of stuff in a thrash band. So, but I think it's great that they add this on, and it's all about the idea of that. He's the last. This person is the last of their kind. There's no one left. The lyrics kind of lament the idea that against the raging wind, against the rising tide, I stand alone, the last of my kind. I like it. It's kind of waxing poetically, and it, but yet it has such impact to me. It's a great song, and I even love how it fades out at the end. It's so great that whole ending with the fades back into the acoustic section. Great. What a great song.
Yeah, no, I like it. I think you literally hit every single bullet note I had. So nothing for me to add there. Jim, what anything?
Yeah, I mean, this has a new wave of British heavy metal vibe,
Yeah.
traditional vibe throughout it. That's that sort of slow keyboard piano at the start and the traditional guitar. I mean, it and how it comes back around full circle. I really like it. You guys hit it all. I mean, it's a heavy song. I really like it, and I think it. You know, I know you brought up, Billy, that you would have rather a more thrashy or go out on a faster kind of quicker motion, but I think it bookends the album pretty good. I mean, you got a long song. I think it's pretty good. And the thing is, this is only a 40-minute album with only 8 tracks, so it's really not that long. And I'm glad they did it this way for my own personal likes, because I don't mind the lengthy songs. Really give you time to wander around in it and check it out, and it doesn't feel like there's no bloat on this album whatsoever, and that's cool.
Yep.
Very cool.
Well said. All right. So that covers the album. Yeah, I agree. It's interesting, right? Because so many long songs.
Yeah.
But it's only 40 minutes, but obviously because they limited it to 8 songs. So
I don't find it a long album, though.
No,
me neither.
Short. No.
I think it's way too short for me personally.
Yeah, I guess they could have thrown one more, right? Like another track.
But and it's safe to, you know, just to add too for everybody out there, that the album comes with a bonus, which is live track for Ravaging Europe 2023. So
that's a really good live album.
Yeah, and it's really cool because, you know, you get this as a bonus. Like I bought this at my local record store. They had about 5 copies, which is really cool. And I really love the fact that you get that as a bonus because, and even if you stream it, it's on the streaming bonus as well. It's just so cool. You get a little injection, a bonus like that. That's how an album needs to be. If you're going to do a bonus, don't throw a cover on. If you're going to do a cover, do the cover as a bonus. Everything bonus. But this is just smart marketing all the way around.
Sadly, the vinyl has none of that.
Oh.
8 tracks, and that's all you get. Obviously, they can't fit it on, but
yeah,
of course.
That's too bad. We don't get that.
Yeah, that's way too bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, to your point, Jim, you can stream it online, so
yeah,
I got to hear it. So that was pretty cool.
And it gives you I mean, you guys saw them live. I didn't, but at least I get a taste of it.
Well, it was too short, Jim. The show.
Oh yeah.
Like they played an hour, and I was like, this is way too freaking short.
Yeah.
And I have nothing
against. That's common now. The opening acts are playing an hour. I don't like for club bands, anyways.
But you know what? I mean, Allegion was okay, but I'd rather listen to like an hour and a half of Warbringer. Personally speaking, not that I hated Allegion; they were all right. But I'd rather hear Warbringer. That's my honest opinion. But
were they headlining?
I think it's like co-headlining.
Oh, okay.
But Warbringer was last. I don't know if they're flipping, but they both played roughly the same time, right?
An hour, yeah. And each an hour, yeah. And I didn't mind Allegion; they were all right. But to me, Warbringer was the band I came to see.
Yeah,
true.
But,
yeah, there were some cool musical parts of Allegion, but yeah, I mean, depends on what you like, I guess. But yeah, Warbringer is for
their
a
album's
setting
really
a
good.
bit more energetic.
The Allegion album, it's really good. It's
good, yeah.
Yeah, it's freaky.
Yeah.
But yeah, to your point, Ken, I'd rather see Warbringer,
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I would rather have an hour and a half of Warbringer. To me, I thought the show was way too short. They were just getting going when they finish up with Total War. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
We're just getting started.
And I missed the first 2 songs at the merch stand. So it was
I know,
for me.
You're getting your vinyl signed and stuff, but yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
well.
it's too bad. But anyways.
What can you do?
Exactly.
Okay. So let's broaden this out to the Warbringer discography. We'll each do our ranking of the 7 albums. Who wants to start? Do you want to go, Ken?
Sure, I'll go first.
Okay.
All right. So I to be honest, all the albums are good. I mean, even 1 to 7. It doesn't mean that they're bad albums. They're all good albums to me. But
Right.
as you always say, Billy, you have to everything's got to be ranked somewhere. There's got to be a
Yeah.
ranking. So I'll start with number 7, and that's Empire's Collapse, which it's a not bad album. They did play Hunter Seeker live, which I like that song, and that got a good pop during the live set. It's a good song. Songs are all right. It's not one of my. I don't know. I don't know if I go to it a lot, but I don't mind it. It's still pretty solid. Number 6, I have Worlds Torn Asunder from 2011, and again, Living Weapon. They played that live, and that's another good song. Um, it seems to me that they take the one good song and they play it live, and that to me that's the good song on this album. The rest of it, it's all right, but I like that song the best. Number 5, I have Waking into Nightmares from 2009, their sophomore album.
Ken,
This
we have
album
the exact same list. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, that's funny. That's
I may not even have to go at this pace.
And I like Jackal. Jackal's a great song. I like the song Living in a Whirlwind. That's a really good song.
Yeah.
So reality, it's got some really good, solid songs. But I think the next 3 albums are just better for me. But sorry, the next 4 albums are better. Number 4, I have Weapons of Tomorrow. I like this album a lot. The Black Hand reaches. That's so great. I like the fact that they do the Joseph Conrad novel, and they do Hearts of Darkness, which is great. They also do the Hunchback of Notre Dame, which is another great song based on a classic novel. So I like to kind of let's do the Iron Maiden thing and do the literary classics, which is cool. It's a good album. It's really, really solid. It's a lot different if you listen to this Weapons and then listen to the new one. There's a big wide divide between what they were trying to do with it. Number 3 is Wrath and Ruin. I like the album a lot. It's really, really strong, and we talked about it. Number 2, I have Woe to the Vanquished. I like this album a lot, and I like the song Woe to the Vanquished, which they played live again. They play all the really good songs live, which is great. But this has Remain Violent. It has Divinity of Flesh. When the Guns Fell Silent. It's a good album. It's really, really strong. But I'm sorry, number 1 to me will always be the first album, War Without End, 2008. And I'm saying this because this is the album that kind of really started off the modern new wave of American thrash. It's one of the first bands that started doing new modern like 2000s thrash, and it's great. I mean, Total War, Combat Shock, At the Crack of Doom, Hell on Earth. Great. And when they played Total War at the show, people went insane. I was going insane. I totally loved it. So, but that's where my ranking is.
All right, cool. I mean, we have to have at least 2 different, and so that's it. Just 2 different.
That's fine.
It's probably the closest of any sort of list that we had. So, I mean,
Cool.
given that, Jim, do you mind if I go?
Go
Just
ahead.
it's going to duplicate like Ken. So, and maybe yours is similar. I don't know.
Very similar.
Okay.
For one main difference.
So yeah, for me, Empire's Collapse is 7. Like I think it's just the songwriting for whatever reason. Everything can't be the best songwriting. So it's just not as memorable as everything else on the top 6. Worlds Torn Asunder is my number 6. I love the opener and closer here. 2 amazing tracks. That's a great one. There's even a good, if I remember right, there's a good instrumental on this thing too.
Yes.
I think so, right? Yeah. Number 5, Walking into Nightmares. So for me, yeah, no. So this one, I like Pray for Death, for example. It has some like pretty good like death metal elements, but I think it's a great, strong album. Everything from here on up, I think, or even like 6 and 6 to 1 is really strong. Number 4, I have War Without End. So I guess that's one of the big differences. So I love this album. Like it's a total thrash banger. But you know how I tend to like the later, more mature albums.
Sure.
where they're experimenting a bit more. So that's the only reason it's number 4. I mean, if we were talking raw thrash, this would be number 1. So, and I love that they, ended the concert with Total War. That's really cool. So number 3, I think it was the same as you too, Ken. Wrath and Ruins. We just talked about it. I don't know, like I'm still absorbing everything, right? Like I've only had it for a couple of weeks, so I don't know. I don't see it going higher, but maybe it will. For me, number 3 or number 2. Did I mess the order up? No, I'm on number
No,
2.
you're right.
Oh yeah, Woe to the Vanquished. So
Okay.
for me, 1 and 3, I can move around a bit. It depends on
Okay.
what my mood is, right? One's a bit more polished, I guess. But yeah, like for me, one of my favorites is When the Guns Fell Silent.
Yeah.
On this track
Yeah,
is
good song. Yeah,
album. So good. But yeah, I love this thing. And then Weapons of Tomorrow. I
yeah.
just think it's there. For me, it clicks the most with me. You
Okay.
can kind of see the hints of what comes on Wrath and Ruins. Like
Yes.
there's bits of Blacken, there's bits of Prague, there's little bits of Death that's coming through. You hear the band evolving, and it's just the slightly more mature songwriting. But if I
Yes.
want a thrasher, then I don't go to this. But if I want like a broader sort of song style, I go to that. So
That
um
makes sense.
yeah, I think you and I mean that's the closest list we probably ever had.
I
Uh
think so. Yeah, yeah. You're probably right.
yeah. So Jim, let's see. Are you in the same vein?
Let's see where Jim
A little
goes.
bit. There's some difference there, but my number 7 is Worlds Torn Asunder. I
Okay.
like Living Weapon, but I mean, number 6 is Empire's Collapse. Hunter Seeker, I like that song, but they could switch in and out. It wouldn't. But my number 5, which is a bit different than Ken's, would be War Without End. I like Total War, and I really like Instruments of Torture. That song is a really cool song. My number 4 is Weapon of Termination, 2010, 2020. And my number 3 is Walking into Nightmares. I mean, a great song. My number 2 is this, Wrath and Ruin. And my number 1 is Woe to the Vanquished. I mean, I love that song, Remain Violent. And When the Guns Fell Silent is like a classic. But I can predict that this will probably overtake that, as like I've only had it for about maybe 5 weeks. So I've been playing it, but I haven't played it as much as I played the 2017 release. So I would assume I'll probably end up loving this as my number 1.
Well, it's funny. We all have Woe to the Vanquish up high, all three of us.
Yeah. Oh, it's a legendary album. I think it's probably one of their, like, from start to finish. I mean, but I like this Wrath and Ruin so good. But it will only be points. Like, let's be honest. I'm going to be honest. Any one of these I could put on, and there's at least 3/4 of the album I think is amazing. Even like my last one, Worlds Torn Asunder. Living Weapon is amazing. Like, if there's a greatest hits album, that would be on.
You got it, yeah.
Yeah.
You can't go on with any of the 7 albums.
No, you're right.
Anyone watching our podcast, really, all 7 are good. It's just, I guess it just depends on your mood and what you want. If you want like thrash, well, you get it. If you want something that's a bit more inventive and maybe a bit more adventurous, well, you get that too. So they're all over the map. And that's what makes them interesting, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And it kind of speaks totally against the thought that modern bands have nothing new to offer. So
exactly.
Well, I mean, we're going to be doing our best 15 of 2025 come pretty close to January, and I mean, right now this is my number 1, and it's like I've got a lot of great albums that I love. Like there's the Halo Effects in there right now, and I mean Dream Theater, which was my number 1, and I battled, but I gotta give it to this right now. Elysian is one of my favorite ones so far, and and there's going to be so many more releases, but I think this one really surprised the hell out of me. And I think the 3 singles they released were pretty cool, but I think that hearing the other songs that really took you on a journey kind of pieced it all together.
Yeah. Jim, just curious, do you have the Warfield album up there too? Or
yes. Warfield is on there too. Top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good album, man.
Yeah.
And we still got a long way to go, so.
Yeah,
it was
I mean, that's a
well,
wicked album.
Sodom, new Sodom coming out soon.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
Well, what we got everything, right? Anthrax, we got Testament, we got
Sodom, yep.
yeah.
I have
What else
Destruction
is
in my top 15 because there's not been as many, but I don't see
okay?
it staying there. It's not in my top 10.
It'll
So,
be Ken's number one.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Oh no, I bought it. I don't even listen to it now. It's like
yeah,
I can't get into it at all.
you guys were right. The burn, I like it, but the burn factor was pretty quick with it. Like, I burned through it. And I was like, even the Accept cover, which I thought was pretty cool. You know, not when you have an album like Warbringer where, and, you know, where it's just so original that you just can't really compare the two. It's a great album. The Destruction album's great, but it's just not. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna go up against. I mean, Dream Theater should hold in my top 5, I would say, but I don't even know. It depends if Maiden comes out with a new album. Who knows?
That's true. You
Cool.
don't know.
And Anthrax, I'm looking forward to Anthrax. I want Anthrax
Same
to
here,
be in my
dude.
top 5.
Same here, dude. We'll see. We'll
Well,
see.
I like the last couple Anthrax.
Yeah,
So
me too.
even end up in my ranking too.
Yeah,
I
they're
think this
the
could be the
last
top
few.
year for more thrash in our maybe I know in my top 15 maybe some more thrash than I normally have. Last year it seemed to be more death metal.
Yeah, I think it was a good year for death metal though
And I mean,
last
but the
year.
new Cancer CD is wicked. I wish I could get it. Right now it's like $36.99. Man, I have a limit.
That's crazy, dude. That's just nuts.
It'll
Yeah.
come down, or you'll find it somewhere. Like
Oh
much.
yeah.
Yeah,
Haven't heard it. I
Amazon
haven't
will
even
probably-
streamed it yet.
And I don't know. I know Billy doesn't like it, but Ken, I don't know what you think of the new Machine Head. I love it.
No.
No?
No. There's a couple songs that are okay. I was listening to Thralls and Metal. They reviewed it, and they're
I
huge.
like it.
They're huge fans.
And I meant to send
Yeah.
you a note. I watched Thralls of Metal like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
That same review, and to
Yeah.
summarize, I think they said it's basically what's his name, the main guy, like the singer, the guy whose band it is.
Oh, you're talking about what's his name? Yeah, yeah. I forget his name too. I know you're
Jim,
talking
what's the singer's name? The main guy
In where?
in Machine
Machine
Head.
Head.
Oh, I can't remember his name. God.
Oh God. Okay, he was in Violence.
We're getting
Yes.
old.
Okay, well, anyways, they're basically saying, and they love. You're right, Ken. They love.
Yeah, they're huge
bands.
fans.
Yeah. They basically said it's like he decided he broke in to the Slipknot Reject song
Is it
vault.
Flynn?
Huh?
Rob Flynn. It's Rob Flynn.
Rob Flynn?
Yeah, Rob Flynn. They basically said Rob Flynn snuck into the reject vault of Slipknot and pulled out their worst material, and he's doing a poor job singing on that.
Yeah, he said. Yeah, they didn't. They were very disappointed with the album.
And they don't
I
try.
think
And then,
it's got some good melodic parts. I really like it.
Yeah, I don't know. Robert from the Metal Meltdown. He hated it. He couldn't stand it either. He was. I watched his review. I don't know. I'm not the modern Machine Head. I don't know. I don't know what the hell's going on. I agree with what they said in Thralls of Metal. They're kind of up and down, up for every album. So
Yeah. I've never seen such trashing of an album. Like, and Thralls of Metal are usually very fair, and they don't like nail albums. And you can tell they wanted to give it a 1.5, but they decided to go 2.
And it's funny because they both admit that they were huge fans of the band. So it's like, oh, okay, and then it's like, no, we don't like it.
That's why when they admit they're fans, then I guess it gives them more credibility to be negative. I don't know, but
well, they didn't outright slag it, but they didn't go out of their way to say buy this album or get into it. So
yeah.
Well, it's like that and the new Kill Switch album. It didn't get positive reviews, but that's another one I liked.
Okay. I mean, hell, we like what we like, right? There's albums I love that everyone hates, so nothing wrong with that.
But I mean, these albums aren't going to make, like, I'm hoping for a banner year with all these releases coming through. But that Cancer album's really, really good.
I hear
I
good
heard
things.
part of it. It's pretty good. I've heard parts of it. I like it too, but
Yeah.
I have to hear it all. I have to give it another spin. I only just kind of streamed it a little bit.
Yeah, I keep
and
reading.
Leper Colony's coming out with an album. It's mine shipped already, so I love them.
Okay.
Who, Jim?
Leper Colony.
Yeah.
No, I don't think
They're
I know.
coming out. They're coming out with their new album on Friday, so
What
it's
kind of
really,
music?
really good.
What kind of music?
It's like death metal, more death, really strong death metal with a tiny bit of thrash thrown in.
Yeah.
It's pretty good though.
I don't know.
Death Thrash.
Their second
Yeah.
album.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, I never heard of them, so I'll have to check it out.
Ooh.
All right, so that was cool, covering a newer band. So for folks either viewing or listening, please feel free to give us some feedback. Right, you want more new bands, or are you going to be you want less new bands, or? But yeah, I mean, given that we all buy the new stuff, so we're happy to dive more into it, and I'm sure we will see more newer bands as we sort of get through all the older catalog of classic thrash. So yeah, so that wraps up episode 56 of Thrashcast. Next week, I'm kind of looking forward to next week's episode. Ken will be the host, and we've talked about Anthrax quite a bit tonight, or late tonight. So we're actually going to go to Anthrax, and why I'm excited is because I've never been the biggest Anthrax fan, but we're doing my favorite Anthrax album, Persistence of Time. So that should
Wicked.
be cool. Yep.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Not my favorite, but I like the album. I saw them on that tour too, so that's wicked.
So when we did our Anthrax ranking, Jim, where did you have it? Like more of a middle thing, or?
Yeah, more of a middle thing. I went with my rankings because I rewatched it. I went with, I think, Fistful higher, Among the Living higher, and even the Bush album, Sound of White Noise higher.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a good album.
Yeah. It's the cover that kills me a little bit, but there's some great songs on Persistence. There's some great songs, but I mean, Among the Living is like legendary.
Yeah.
Cool.
But I also like Spreading the Disease. I like State of Euphoria. Those original albums are just so good.
All right. Well, I'm sure we'll get to those in due course. So,
Absolutely.
lots of stuff. All right, cool. Well, thanks everyone for following along, and the three of us greatly appreciate it. And we'll see you next week for Anthrax.
You bet.
Good night.
See you later.